Sam, we don't want to dwell on it, but the defeat on Saturday, what are your thoughts going forward?
Yeah, we addressed it, and we seen that we weren't good enough with the ball. We weren't good in and out of possession, just landing on second balls. We were too far away from it, but we've addressed that, and we've been working on it today in training and different types of ways we can get out and things like that, and we'll move forward with a positive approach.
Speaking of moving forward then, we've got Morton on Saturday. I imagine as a group of players you're just really keen to get to that next game and put it right.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing. We can move on to the next game. We have a week to prepare for it and move on to the next game and hopefully get that result we need.
It's very early in the season, and so it's still very early in your Airdrie career, but how are you finding it so far?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a different type of life up here. It's living in a different country, but I'm embracing it and getting down to business.
The development of relationships with teammates is something Rhys spoke to us about, that it takes time, that gelling, coming together and getting to know each other on and off the park is just a work in progress. How are you finding that side of it so far?
Yeah, it's definitely a work in progress. There's a lot of new boys in here from last year, so it takes time to gel and bond with each other, know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and it takes that time to click together, and then when it does click, it becomes very good.
What are you expecting on Saturday coming? Should we expect a reaction from the players in the game that we're getting here?
Yeah, definitely. I expect a reaction. We want to get the fans out the chairs mainly and set things right, learn from our mistakes, what we did last weekend, and move forward.
Our last away game, the 3-0 win at Queen of the South, was a lot more like it, and I suppose shows that we can play our football away from home. So as much as it's a league above in terms of the opposition, that's the kind of thing that we'll be looking at to carry on.
Yeah, exactly. We get that game against Queen of the South, played well. We did everything we needed to do in that game. We got the result and we played well with that, and that's the type of game we need to take into the game on Saturday. But as well with that, we need to fight, we need to win the first and second balls, and yeah.
And any kind of passes across field from yourself, like the one that put Lewis McGregor through in that game, wouldn't go amiss either?
No, they wouldn't. That'll be good.
Well, thank you very much for talking to Sam. We'll see you on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rhys, any further kind of thoughts, reflections on the defeat on Saturday a few days on?
Aye, listen, we were disappointed in the manner of how we lost the game, but in fairness to say that, I've got credit to Falkirk. I thought they were excellent on the day and deserved to win. Of course there's things we can do better. Spoke to the boys and kind of reiterated the message that kind of our style and trying to impose ourselves could have been done a lot better. But I take responsibility for that as much as the players do. And like I say, there's no point in kind of resting on your laurels. You've got to make sure that you come in ready to go. You try and address the kind of faults and the negative kind of result. And listen, another game coming up, so you've not got time to sit and sulk or feel sorry for yourself. You've got to make sure that you're back on the training pitch and working hard, because obviously we've got another game Saturday.
Speaking of, trip to Capello, somewhere we found ourselves at several times last season, and it's, without dwelling on cliches too much, it's the kind of place that you're never guaranteed an easy game. They're still looking for their first win, but what kind of match are you expecting?
I don't think in terms of they've not won a game, or if they're on a good run of form, or we're on a good run of form, or we're not. It doesn't change the manner of the games that you get against Morton, and the games that you get especially at Capello. They're always competitive. They're always, for a fact, they're going to give 110%. There's going to be commitment and kind of that element of dig and kind of hard work from them. They've obviously recruited in the summer kind of different type of players probably than what they're used to, and probably Dougie and his staff and the club are trying to kind of go down a route that they're maybe trying to change the way that they're playing, which I know firsthand. Listen, it takes a bit of time. It's not just going to happen overnight. You can't click your fingers and all of a sudden bring in players and expect everyone to understand how you work, and it takes a bit of time. I was kind of stressing that to the boys and that today when we had our meeting, was we've been in the job now, and this will be our kind of third season, that there's been a lot of boys that have been with us for the full duration, in terms of they know what we expect, they know how we play, they know our fundamentals. We've got 15 kind of boys new to the squad who it does take a bit of time, and it's because the standard's been set and the bar's been set so high from us as a club and us as a group of players and staff that you kind of almost now expect the kind of the maximum. But it requires a wee bit of patience. We were the same back in our League One days. We were the same kind of last season. A kind of slowish start. I'm not worried at all, because I think in every part of the game there's been glimpses, or there's been a kind of 30-45 minute spell. There's been enough of what we've seen that tells you that it's going to come good. It's just about making sure that we can try and blend that and make sure that the new boys start to understand, as well as the older boys trying to relay that message of how I work, how we work as a team. But I've seen enough in terms of on a daily basis in training. I know there's quality. I look at the squad from probably when we had it in League One, without being disrespectful to the boys that helped get us kind of promoted. I look at the ability that we've got in the squad, and it's went up a notch. That's clear to see, in my opinion. So it's like I said, but it's no given. We're not just going to all of a sudden expect that. We've got to make sure that we put in the hard work, and we continue to do so. And listen, I've no kind of doubts or kind of worries that we'll come good, or we'll get back to our reigning form. If anything, we'll go better. So quietly confident, and again, kind of referring back to Saturday, I fully expect it to be a competitive game. Obviously they'll be searching for the first win at home as well, so there'll be that wee bit of kind of needle in terms of they'll be desperate to try and get 3 points at home, try and kickstart kind of their season as well, and also we'll be trying to put wrong a result from Saturday. So fully expect a competitive game, and hopefully, like I say, we can come away with 3 points.
Well, no strangers to the Championship after last season. We saw it. You kind of touched on it yourself. Teams that started slow or started fast didn't necessarily find themselves in the same place after 5 games that they were, after 15, 20, 35. So are you thinking that Morton, like ourselves, with a kind of large turnover, are just needing that wee bit more time to gel?
Possibly. Like I said, I can only go on kind of last year and what I've seen and what we've come up against and stuff so far. It's a tight league. It always is. It's competitive. You find yourself that in a run of kind of 5 games or 3 games, if you string together a couple of results, you can leapfrog 4 or 5 spaces, and on the flip side of that, if you pick up a few bad results, you can find yourself dropping 3-4 places. So listen, we were in the same position last year. I think, if I remember right, we went up to Arbroath and we got beat 4-0, and then fast forward 6 months from the kind of turn of the year, we always hit form, and we aim for that peak performance. That the trajectory after the Christmas and business end of the season, as I call it, is that's when we're at our best and we're at our full flow. But listen, it takes a bit of time regardless. It doesn't matter whether it's a football team, whether it's kind of a work environment or not. Relationships need to form. People need to gel and understand players' characteristics, strengths, weaknesses. All these kind of things kind of come into consideration. And right now we've just got to make sure that we have a base, we have a kind of foundation, we have principles in play that regardless whether you're new, whether you've been here 4, 5, 6 years or whatever, that these fundamentals and core values, they stay the same. In terms of everything else, that takes care of itself. And I've seen enough, and I know what's available in terms of the squad. So to come good is the kind of terminology, to come good and show the kind of talent that we've got in the squad. It's a matter of time.
The squad itself then, just touching on that, how's their fitness levels, availability? Few bodies back last weekend. How's that all going just now? All
good, positive on that sense, in terms of Big Aaron Reid, obviously I think came through, what was it, 60 minutes or something like that. That's the first time. I think if you even refer back to the Premier Sports Cup, he had a stop-start kind of campaign, being injured, and he took a sore one at Aberdeen with his ligaments. So to try and kind of build him up to 90 minutes, he's probably not going to be ready to go and play 90 right off the bat. Lewis McGregor, obviously we've seen what happened with him. We thought obviously he was ready, he was feeling good. Wraith, he comes on for 20 minutes and just had a setback, but he comes on, he gets 30 minutes, that's more into the tank. You see the threat that Queen of the South, he comes on, and for the short period that he was on, he's a threat, he's a real asset to the team. As well as other individuals, more minutes into Chris Mockery, who, again, I kind of said that before, that prior to kind of the last kind of few games and stuff, the last 90 minutes he'd completed was February after his operation, so it's easy just to go and throw boys into 90 minutes and kind of burn them out. But like you said, you end up having an issue and a problem 3-4 weeks down the line when their body's only used to the 90 minutes and the load, so we've got to make sure that we manage it correctly. And a few bumps and bruises from the game. Terrell picked up just a kind of knock in his knee, a few kind of bits of tightness and whatever, but nothing at the moment so far that's kind of raised concern or alarming. Progression of the boys that have been injured been very, very good. Updating obviously like Liam McStravick, who's a longer term one, is virtually on the verge of back kind of running, which he's been, credit to him, and his rehab, he's really put in the work. He's ahead of schedule and stuff, so he's looking strong, he's looking fit, so he's itching to come back because he's desperate to play and desperate to be involved in a team environment. Dean McMaster's in the same mindset where he's doing his work, he's kind of using the time wisely, that yes, he's not in the team and he's not in the squad, but what can he be doing to improve as a footballer, and that's the kind of task that I've given him and others. Aidan Wilson the same, he's now a month down the line after he's up. We'd planned in our head it'd be kind of 6 weeks for him, so he'll not be a million miles away, give or take, from that kind of time frame. He's progressing really well. He's off obviously crutches, walking about, so it's now just about, can we build up his leg, can we build up his muscles round about his knee that obviously give him a wee bit more stability. And off the top of my head, I can't really kind of think of anyone else. Myself obviously again just had a kind of minor setback, nothing major. Back in running last week, was trying to aim for obviously Falkirk being a big game. I understand what it means to myself and obviously supporters in the club, so wanted to try my best to come back and be available. Bit of a setback, didn't quite feel right, so that's maybe set me back a week or so, but doing my rehab, doing everything as professional as possible, and trying to get back in contention as quick as I can.
Brilliant, Rhys, thank you very much for that.
Cheers.